Hi, everybody. Welcome to English Digest. I'm Tom.
Hi, I'm Stephanie.
Today, we're going to continue our discussion about Cinco de Mayo, which is actually today. It's May 5th today. It's a time to celebrate Mexican pride and Mexican culture, but it's primarily celebrated in the United States, but it's based on an event that took place in Mexico on the 5th of May.
Yeah.
I believe in 1862.
So today we're going to focus more on how this particular, I guess, day of the year has become more commercial. As most things are in this world, it's how we can make money. Well, how can we market this? How can we make money? That's what the companies are thinking of. And nowadays, it features alcohol companies trying to get people to buy their particular liquor, whatever it is. Or, it might be a time that people can get together and have parades. We did mention in day one, in the day one program, that this is more a festival for the U.S. and not so much Mexico, except for the city of Puebla. And we're going to talk about how the city of Puebla in Mexico actually celebrates this particular day. But as we always do, we're going to read through day two.
In the U.S. today, partygoers of all races mark Cinco de Mayo with distinctive and elaborate parades, dances, music, and Mexican food. In recent years, the festival has also adapted to become more commercial and now often features heavy marketing from several large alcohol companies. This push is one reason why the festival is one of the top 5 drinking festivals in the U.S. Across the border in Mexico, Cinco de Mayo isn't considered a particularly large celebration outside of Puebla. However, in Puebla, groups assemble to dress up in period military costumes and take part in parades. They also depict the battle through reenactments. Apart from these military celebrations, authentic Mexican food is also necessary for this festival. The most symbolic local food is mole poblano. An alternative regional festival was created to celebrate and place emphasis on this dish. The Festival del Mole Poblano started in 1991 and is held around the time of Cinco de Mayo. Mole poblano is a thick, creamy sauce that is served over turkey, chicken, or pork. Interestingly, the sauce contains many types of chili peppers, spices, and even chocolate. Legend says that the origin of mole poblano dates back a few hundred years to colonial times when nuns hurriedly prepared a meal for the visiting archbishop. They had no time to get ingredients, so they threw together some turkey, chilies, chocolate, spices, nuts, and old bread. The archbishop liked the peculiar dish, and it has been eaten ever since. So, if you really want to experience the purest form of Cinco de Mayo, set Puebla as your next destination.
Okay, guys, let's dive in. This is day 2, and we're taking a little closer look at Cinco de Mayo. So in the U.S. today, how is this particular festival celebrated? Well, we've got partygoers. So you've got partygoers of all races. You don't have to be Mexican. You can be from a different country. You can have a different background or culture, and you're still welcome to celebrate Cinco de Mayo. So if you mark the day, it just means you do something to recognize that day. So partygoers mark Cinco de Mayo with distinctive and elaborate parades, dances, music, and Mexican food. So during the celebration of Cinco de Mayo, you're going to see some of these things. You might see parades, depending on where you are. Dances, they love to dance. There's a lot of fun music going on. And music, of course, is always necessary, and Mexican food. So in recent years, it says, the festival has also adapted or changed to fit something, if you adapt, changed to become more commercial, which means a way to make money. If something's commercial, it's how you make money off of it. And now often features heavy marketing from several large alcohol companies And Tom mentioned some of those alcohols that are alcoholic beverages that are popular in Mexico.
Since Cinco de Mayo is kind of a party festival, they tend to promote alcoholic beverages and maybe snacks that go with them. So these alcohol companies like Anheuser-Busch or whatever will have lots of advertisements to get people to buy their products for this festival. And of course, maybe the Mexican breweries will get in on the deal as well to push their own products. And this push is one reason why the festival is one of the top 5 drinking festivals in the U.S. So here we've got a push, which means like a promotion. They're trying to make this happen. So push is being used as a noun here. Someone will give you a push, for example, to help you move along if your car doesn't work or something like that. But here's a push for marketing here. They just want people to see all their commercials, their advertisements, and go out and buy that 12-pack of Bud.
Yeah, I think the beer that's most famous, at least in America, is Corona, which is just from Mexico. I see it all the time because I am very close to the border of Mexico. And it makes the festival one of the top 5 drinking festivals in the U.S. I would say New Year's Day or New Year's Eve is up there, in the top 5. What's the one? Not April Fool's Day. But,
wouldn't be Thanksgiving, would it?
No, I'm thinking of the Irish festival. What is that?
Oh, St. Patrick's Day?
St. Patrick's Day is a huge drinking festival day.
Yeah, they get people to drink Irish whiskey or Guinness Stout, for example. Those are Irish drinks. But we're talking about Mexico here, or Mexican people in the U.S. who celebrate the culture, basically. And yes, they've got this push. That's one of the reasons why this festival is very popular for drinkers. It's a good time to get wasted if you're into that sort of thing. But of course, there are lots of other alternatives if you're not into drinking beer and tequila and things like that.
Yeah, Mexico has a lot of fruit-flavored drinks that are really good, and you don't have to put alcohol in them, and you still have a great time.
There's one with cinnamon in it, too. I can't remember what it's called. Maybe it will occur to me later. But let's move on now to the next paragraph here. It says, across the border in Mexico, Cinco de Mayo isn't considered a particularly large celebration outside of Puebla. So if you're in Guanajuato or Coahuila or Veracruz, you're probably not really going to be celebrating this too much on Cinco de Mayo. But if you're in Puebla, which is both a city and a state in Mexico, you might be thinking, hey, it's time to celebrate Cinco de Mayo because this is where that battle took place, where we told the French to take a hike.
Yeah. Yay. I support that. A country should stay out of other countries. That's my opinion. So in Puebla, you can see what they do. Groups assemble to dress up in period military costumes. If you assemble, it just means a group of people gathered together in one place for some sort of purpose. Maybe there's a meeting or a party or a conference or discussion, something like that. So they assemble, they come together, and they're all dressed up. And they're wearing period military costumes. If it's period military costumes, it means they're wearing military costumes that would have been worn back in the mid-1800s. So they're kind of these old-fashioned costumes, kind of fun. And then they take part in parades where they walk or march up and down the streets. They probably have music. Kids are probably involved as well. Parades can be a lot of fun.
Right. They also depict the battle through reenactments, and to reenact means to perform something again as it may have been performed before. It's not really a re-performance of an actual performance like in the theater or something.
No.
This would be a reenactment of a battle, so they get a bunch of people to wear the military uniforms, and they carry guns that shoot maybe just smoke out of them, not actual bullets, and they pretend that they're having this battle. This happens in the U.S. a lot. There are often reenactments of Civil War battles, like the Battle of Gettysburg is a famous battle that is reenacted quite often.
Yeah, the folks in the southern part of the U.S., actually a lot of groups like to do this. They get together to reenact history. We use this word reenactment also in the law. My dad was an attorney, and sometimes there would be, say, an accident and someone would get hit by a car. They would often have these reenactments where they would try to show what took place. So a reenactment, of course, as Tom said, is not just a performance, redoing a performance before. It's part of real life that's being reenacted or acted out by some people. Or maybe it might be a video reenactment. Sometimes they'll do that too. Now, apart from these military celebrations, there's authentic Mexican food. That's also necessary for this festival. If something's authentic, it's real, it's not fake. And often we'll ask our friends, oh, there's a new restaurant that just opened, and it's got authentic Thai cuisine, which means the chef or the cook at that restaurant or the owner is actually from Thailand. They know what they're doing. They actually make real authentic Thai food. It's not Thai food that is just what people here in Taiwan think of as Thai food. It's actual, real, authentic food. So, yeah, authentic Mexican food, for example, wouldn't be fast food from Taco Bell, which I quite enjoy Taco Bell, to be honest. We don't have Taco Bell here, but it's kind of like a McDonald's or Burger King, but they sell what we consider American Mexican food. But, yeah, you can go and eat authentic Mexican food, which is delicious.
Yeah, the real food from Mexico, of course, there could be Tex-Mex mixed in as well. That's a little different from authentic Mexican food, but you get the idea. You'll have lots of choices if you attend these celebrations. That brings us to the midway point in our lesson for today. Let's listen now to our Chinese teacher.
听众朋友大家好，我是安娜。我们昨天带大家看了一个美国的节庆 Cinco de Mayo， 就是5月5日节。那它其实是墨西哥人打败法军入侵很骄傲的一个节日，不是墨西哥的独立纪念日啦齁。好，今天我们要来看一下他们是怎么样来庆祝的呢？然后呢，有没有什么美食可以吃呀？好，在今天的美国，其实所有的种族啊，对于这种一些节日啊，他们都会很用心的来庆祝，所以很喜欢开趴的人啊，我们会说 party goers， 它就出现在第一段第一句逗点之后这个地方。而且我们知道美国是大熔炉嘛，所以常常都会用 races 种族这个字 party goers of all races， 所有种族喜欢开趴的人，他们都会纪念 A 用 B。 在这句话当中，同样我们可以把动词的 mark 跟后面的 with抓出来，就会用什么呢？用一些游行、舞蹈啊、音乐啊、食物啊来 mark， 来去纪念5月5日节。当然近年来这个节日就会变得比较 commercialized， 就是商业化了，因为有几间大型的酒商经常会很大量的行销这个特色，然后大家就买酒喝啊，这个狂饮啊，然后这个欢庆。在第二句当中，我们特别注意到大量的行销啊，在英文当中用 heavy 这个形容词形容 marketing。Heavy marketing。 那么接下来我们就要看到啊，既然有这个 party goers 啊，所以要欢庆啊，要喝酒啊，所以其实5月5号根本就是美国前5大饮酒节其中之一的这个原因。好，那接下来我们就来看一下啦，在墨西哥他们到底怎么样来庆祝呢？其实啊，在墨西哥除了 Puebla 就是当时被法军入侵的这个城市以外，5月5日节好像没有什么特别盛大的庆祝活动。可是在墨西哥的 Puebla 这个城市啊，大家在5月5号就会聚集 assemble 在一起，他们会穿上当时的军装，那特别的目的穿的这种特殊服装都会叫做 costume。 所以我们现在来到第二段第二句哦。首先这个当时的军装对于现代的人来说已经是一个特别目的穿的一种像是戏服类的，所以就是会用 costume 这个字。那他们要做什么呢？基本上啊，他们可能会透过一个重新的演绎，就重新演一下那一场战争。那出现在第三句，所谓的重新演绎来描绘这场战役，这里所谓的重演就是第三句最后一个字 reenactment。那当然除了一些军事庆典之外，有一些正宗的出现了美食，墨西哥美食也是这个节日所 不能少的。接下来在第二段第4句最前面的 apart from 我们可以把它画起来，它的同义词其实就有 aside from A-S-I-D-E aside from， 甚至在我们高一的时候或者是有一些国中我们就学过，除了什么之外还有会用 besides B-E-S-I-D-E-S， 所以还有美食耶。
We're going to take a quick break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back, guys. It's day 2 of our festival unit, and we're continuing to talk about Cinco de Mayo, a festival that is celebrated primarily in the United States by people who want to remember their Mexican heritage. And it's a fun time for all. We get together, we have parties, there's lots of music and dancing. And if you're lucky enough to be in Mexico for Cinco de Mayo, you want to head on over to Puebla, which actually does have quite a big celebration, unlike the rest of Mexico, where it's not as big a deal. But in America, at least, Cinco de Mayo is a lot of fun. And you can see parades and dances, and you can eat really yummy food. And of course, they're going to try to get you to buy a lot of things because companies want to make money off these festivals and special holidays. And they'll try to market some of the special alcohol brands that come from Mexico, but also some of the brands that are now made in the U.S. So when we left you, we were talking about what they do in Puebla. They have people dress up in military costumes from that period of time. So they're kind of really cool-looking military costumes you would not normally see. And they take place, or they take part in parades. They also do battle reenactments where they kind of act out the battles that took place during the war with France. And apart from these military celebrations, you, of course, can eat a lot of authentic or real Mexican food.
And of course, as you know, Mexico is a big country, so they have different states there that will have local food, like in Guerrero or Michoacan or Jalisco, and also in Puebla, so they're going to have some local specialties. So the most symbolic local food for Puebla here is mole poblano. Now, mole is a special dish in Mexico, and poblano is the adjective for things that have to do with Puebla. So basically, it's a Puebla mole, but this is the Spanish name, mole poblano. Spanish has different rules for making nouns into adjectives, like, of course, America, American, Mexico, Mexicano, etc. They have different ways to do this. So mole poblano just means mole from Puebla.
Now, if you're into cooking shows like I am, you may have seen this word poblano before because there are chili peppers with that name. Mole is a sauce that's really kind of hard to make. It takes a lot of skill and a lot of experience. And it also typically takes a couple of days to even make a mole sauce. It's very different from the sauces we're used to because they put chili peppers in it. They put chocolate, which sounds really weird to most people. Mole just means sauce. It comes from the Spanish language. It just means sauce. But if you can make a good mole sauce and you're on a cooking show, you usually win for the best dish. I understand it's really tasty. So if something's symbolic, it represents something else. So if you get the chance to actually taste this mole poblano, you're going to have something that will make you feel like you're actually in the city of Puebla, which is really cool. Now, they've got an alternative regional festival that was created to celebrate and place emphasis on this dish. So this is a pretty big deal. If you're talking about cuisine, you might, and you want to focus in on this particular cuisine, Mexican cuisine, you'll definitely want to teach yourself how to make mole poblano.
Exactly. So this happens sometimes. They have some sort of festival that celebrates a local food.
Yeah.
There probably are those here in Taiwan. Maybe there's a mango festival down south somewhere. I'm not quite sure. But in any case, this is an alternative regional festival. If you haven't had enough fun yet with the Cinco de Mayo celebrations, well, attend this festival. It's an alternative. It's another choice. And it's created to place emphasis on mole poblano. And it's called the Festival del Mole Poblano, and it started in 1991 and is held around the time of Cinco de Mayo. Of course, they don't want to happen right at the same time because they'd have to compete with each other, so they're probably celebrated at slightly different dates on the calendar. And so it's Festival del Mole Poblano. Del means de El, which means of the Mole Poblano, and it started fairly recently, way back in 1991, but not in the 1800s.
Yeah, the poblano, let me say that, the poblano pepper is dark green. It's kind of a mild taste, but it is a chili pepper, so it's spicy, guys. But you'll see that more and more because it's kind of a popular pepper to put in dishes these days. So it did start in 1991. This festival's held around the same time as Cinco de Mayo. And mole poblano is a thick, creamy sauce that's served over chicken, turkey, or even pork. And like I said, it's kind of a weird sauce for most of us because it's spicy. It's got chili peppers and chocolate in it. And it must be cooked for a long time to get the flavors to really be rich. So it's kind of an interesting dish to take a look at. Legend says that the origin of the mole poblano dates back a few hundred years to colonial times. So this particular pepper has been around for a long time. And that's when nuns hurriedly prepared a meal for the visiting archbishop. The archbishop is just a particular level or calling in the Catholic Church. There are a lot of Catholics, of course, in South America. Now, if you use that phrase, legend has it, or legend says, just means this is the story that has been passed down through the ages. So you could also say rumor has it, or legend has it, gives you the idea that it was quite a while ago.
Right, and legend in this particular case means it may or may not be true. Nobody knows for sure.
It's true.
But according to legend, the origin of mole poblano dates back to colonial times. Colonial refers to the period of history when Spain was controlling Mexico before Mexico got its independence. Of course, Taiwan had a colonial period when Japan was controlling Taiwan from 1895 to 1945. That's the Japanese colonial period. But of course, they're going back a few hundred years to when Spain was controlling Mexico, when Mexico was a colony of Spain. And the nuns there of the Catholic Church hurriedly prepared a meal for the visiting archbishop, which of course is a high position in the Catholic Church, below a bishop, I guess, or maybe it's a big bishop. I'm not Catholic, I don't know, but in any case here, they thought, oh no, the archbishop is coming. We've got to do something. We've got to fix some food for him. So they basically threw something together. They had no time to get ingredients, so they threw together some of these ingredients, which included turkey, chilies, chocolate, spices, nuts, and old bread. So they basically just put together what they had on hand there and kind of crossed their fingers and hoped for the best. Hopefully, this will be tasty to the archbishop. Hopefully, he'll like it. You just never know, but we have no choice. We've got to prepare something.
Well, the archbishop really did like this peculiar dish. Peculiar means strange or odd. It can also mean unusual or uncommon, something that you don't see all the time. This would have been a weird tasting dish for someone from Europe, and that's where the archbishop was from. But since that time, it's been made and enjoyed by millions, of course, of people around the world. Mole. It's a very popular sauce these days. It seems like in cooking, at least, some cuisines will suddenly become popular for a couple years. Right now, the mole from Mexico is very popular. So you might want to give it a try if you have a chance. Moving on to our final sentence. It says, if you really want to experience the purest form of Cinco de Mayo, set Puebla as your next destination. Your destination is a place you're traveling to. You'll often see this word in the airport. Final destination, you'll hear it on the announcements as well. Final boarding call for, anyone going to this place. And destinations will be on boards in the airport that tell you where you're headed to.
Right, so you'll probably get a flight to Los Angeles, connecting to Mexico City, and then maybe you can get a local flight from there to Puebla or take the train or the bus or something like that. It should be pretty easy to get there, but you'll have to wait till next year because today is Cinco de Mayo. You can't possibly get there in time to attend this festival, but at least maybe you'll see some videos on YouTube. Who knows? Okay, that brings us to the end of our discussion for today. Let's listen now to our Chinese teacher.
那具有象征意义的当地的这个美食，最 symbolic 的这样子的 local food 到底是什么呢？就是 mole poblano。这个 mole poblano 啊，它是一种 sauce， 它就是一种酱啦，那这就是一个 dish 嘛，就是一种菜肴。那当然这是一种另类的一种比较区域性的庆典，但是这个所谓的 mole poblano 这样子的一个美食到了一个什么地步呢？其实它还有一个 mole poblano 的 festival， 一个节庆诶。我们看一下第3段第一句，从1991年开始，居然还有 mole poblano 这种 festival。所谓的这种 mole poblano 的 festival， 它就是在差不多接近5月5号的时候会开始举行。那我们说它是一种 sauce， 它其实这个菜肴呢，它就是一种酱料。在第3段第2句的地方，它是一个 thick creamy sauce， 它是一种 sauce， 后面带了限定用法关系子句哦。什么样的 sauce 呢？从 that 到句尾我们左右括号起来，这种 sauce that 关带修饰前面的先行词，它就是会跟像是火鸡啊、鸡肉啊、猪肉啊一起搭配着吃。那这酱汁里面有什么样的 ingredients 呢？有一些什么辣椒、香料啊，甚至还有巧克力耶。怎么会发明这样子的 sauce 呢？接下来第4句就很重要了，一开始其实就是一个特殊的句型。我们如果要说传说如何如何，在英文可以用 legend says that， 或者是 legend has it that， 再加上完整的子句。传说啊，原来这个 origin of the mole poblano 是要追溯到几百年前的殖民时代。如果我们要把一个事件往回追溯的话，在英文当中这个片语就叫做动词的 date back， 后面可以直接加上时间哦，所以要往回追溯几百年就直接说 date back a few hundred years。 那如果要加上追溯的起点，就会搭配介系词的 to， 往回走到什么时候？所以我们现在追溯到当时的殖民时代，原来当时的修女为了匆匆忙忙啊来访的一个大主教Archbishop 为了当时匆匆来访的大主教准备了一顿饭，可是因为没有时间准备食材嘛，所以就把现有的什么火鸡、辣椒、巧克力啊、香料、坚果、老面包全部放在一起，结果大主教就很喜欢呢，就从当时就流传至今。所以在第3段其实第6句最后一句的地方有一个重点，我们看到句尾的 ever since 就表示自从那个时候到现在为止，它的一段时间，而且到了现在，所以动词会用现在完成式 has been。 所以如果你真的想要体验纯粹的5月5日节的话，或许就可以到墨西哥的这个 Puebla 这个城市，可以好好的来体验一番哦。以上是我们今天的内容，我是安娜，我们下次见。
So that's it about Cinco de Mayo. Like Tom said, you won't be able to get there fast enough to celebrate in Mexico or even the U.S. this year, but maybe you can make some plans. It's a really fun festival to see and participate in. For English Digest, I'm Stephanie.
And I'm Tom. Goodbye.
Bye.